time.
On today's episode of Big Time, the podcast, brought to you by our friends at the Landscape Supply Center out there in Herman, Maine, the Russo brothers. Today's episode, we've got our first guest from Van Buren, royalty from the county, an incredible athletic family. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode, we've got Dom Rossignol of Van Buren? Or is it Madawaska? What is it? We find out today on Big Time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another round of the podcast we call Big Time. Back at it, and it's a big time episode. We got our first Van Buren Crusader, right? Yeah. Kind of, for part of his career. And basically like royalty from Van Buren, the Rossinols. We got Dom Rossignol on today's episode of Big Time. Dom, you can go ahead and say hello real quick.
What's up, guys? Pleasure to be on. Long time listener.
If you guys hear some craziness in the background, we got cats, we got dogs. But everything's under control, so don't you worry. Don't you worry anymore about it. Yeah, as we mentioned, Dom from Van Buren, our first Van Buren. What do you guys call yourselves? Van Burenites? Van
Bureners?
Van Bureners.
Cheese sounders?
Yeah.
We're going to be self-deprecating?
Yeah. And your family still calls Van Buren home, right?
Yep, their parents are still at home. Down to just one kid there now. Everyone else has kind of gone on their ways. But yeah, they're in the house that we grew up in.
Who's still out there? So actually, yeah, let's talk about the family. So how many siblings we got here?
I'm the oldest of 5.
I didn't realize you were the oldest.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 5. My brother Derek was behind me. He's, 26? He's in Portland. My sister Paris is at Orno. She's playing ball at Maine. My brother Andre, I guess he still technically lives at home, but he's going to Humpy, so he's there a little over half the time. And then the little one, Annie, she's 5.
Oh shit, I didn't realize there was that big of an age gap.
Yeah.
All right, and everyone's athletes.
Yeah, we'll see about the little one. She's still young, but yeah, no, we all did all right for ourselves.
And so like I said, first Van Buren guest on the show, so we got to hear about growing up in Van Buren. I'm from the Valley, and I think the only place in Van Buren I've been to is the high school. I don't think I've ever actually seen town. So.
If you've seen the high school, you've pretty much seen town.
That's it, right? Yeah.
There ain't much. It's pretty much, your main street's pretty much it. I grew up in a decent neighborhood where there's actually some, decent athletic kids around where we could kind of get stuff going. Either just playing ball in the driveway. I mean, it's different now.
Yeah.
You don't drive through Van Buren now. I think that's what it was like growing up there in the 90s, man. Now I go back home and feel like I'm stumbling upon a set of The Walking Dead with some of the zombies.
Right. Used to be a thriving town, though, right?
Yeah. No. When when my dad played in the 80s, they were Class B, and not too long before that, my Uncle Mark I think played Class A. Yeah. So I mean, when Loring closed and the base closed, that sucked the town up a little bit. But no, it was. We had our little group in my neighborhood. We'd have enough to, play some good, 3-on-4, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 in the driveway. Everything, basketball. We'd bring some wiffle ball stuff down to, there was an old elementary school just down behind where we lived. They had a nice big field we can go use, play some 2-touch football, or if we were feeling a little angry that day, not 2-touch.
Yeah.
We got after it. I remember, when we were getting a little impatient with spring coming, that we'd actually take out, your gardening tools and your shovels, and we're chipping away ice off the driveway so we could play,
just to get outside.
Mom wasn't very happy when some of the tar was coming up with the ice, but, we had to do what we had to do. Yeah.
So athletically, what was it like in Van Buren? You guys had travel teams, I'm guessing, growing up for middle school and stuff?
We really didn't. We did, we had our rec director, Brian Hughes, was the best around. We had, your grades 1 through 3 levels, and then your 4 through 6. Sometimes if you're a little bit of a big boy in 3, you could play up to 4 through 6. And there'd be a tournament every now and then, but we didn't really have a lot of like a travel team. If anyone was going to coach that stuff, probably been my pops, but he was already busy coaching his stuff.
Right.
In the middle school, we played the middle school circuit schedule, whatever, playing your live zone for all the local towns, except for y'all. I don't think we ever had the middle school.
Fort Kent's like the only team like in the valley where like we just played within the district. Like we didn't go outside and we didn't have any travel teams. Nothing like that. If we were lucky that it puts together like an all-star team and like we'd go to like a tournament at the end of the year or something like that, but we didn't get to travel at all. So
yeah,
we had it rough.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I remember the first time we ever saw Fort Kent in anything, it was actually a tournament that, again, Brian Hughes, our rec director, had put on up at home, and we had never seen Fort Kent play in anything.
Yeah.
And this squad rolls in, and we got this, little guy handling the ball over one. We're like, yo, who is this Pat Karen kid? It's like, I ain't never seen these dudes before, but this guy, it's a little bowling ball running over, around, and through people and getting to the rack at will.
Yeah.
That was our first exposure. Like, all right, we're gonna see these guys someday.
I think that tournament I know you're talking about, because that would have been like one of the few times we actually got to get out and travel. I actually remember that we lost to you guys in the championship.
Well, I didn't say you were gonna beat us. I said you had a dude that was nice.
Yeah, no doubt. Were you doing the basketball camp scene growing up?
Oh yeah.
You go to Tiger camp?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yo, I've been going to Tiger since probably since I was too young to be going to Tiger, but Dad was working forever, still does. So,
he still works Tiger camp?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and they got Petty's roped in there now because it looks nice to have those two in the brochure.
Yeah.
So we did that forever. From, like I said, until probably I was even too young to be going, until summer after your 8th grade year, I think is the last year you can go. And yeah, no, I'll never forget that team I had my first year. We had some dudes, I don't know, they must have just put names in a hat, because we ended up so stacked. We had dudes that all went on to be like the man at their school. We had me, I think Ben Doucette, who was a Van Buren kid as well. I think he ended up with me. A kid named Jake Kennison went on to be like for Fairfields, a stud with his age group. A couple kids from Presque Isle. Yeah, we ran through dudes.
Yeah,
no, Tiger. Those
was a fun camp. Yeah, that was a good camp.
For sure.
Any other camps you traveled further than that, or was it just strictly Tiger camp?
I went to, before that, Dad was working at, I think he's actually kind of got it going back up. Bill Cassadance in Presque Isle.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, NM.
Yeah.
NMTC it was at the time. That was a stayover camp. You'd stay in the dorms, and we went to that when I was, again, still pretty young. I think I only went to Pine Tree maybe once. See, the camps we went to are the ones where Dad could get paid to work, but then also the kids could go for free.
Yeah.
So the ones where he was just going to work to have us go and not see anything after, a little more hesitant.
Yeah.
So I think we only did Pine Tree once, and I went once to, that must have been, I think it might have been middle school or right about to become high school. The one at USM. It's a little more like guard, positional specific. They kind of like split up. The guards do this thing and the bigs do that. I went to that one year. That was fun. That was good. Yeah, not a ton, but
a couple here and there. Yeah. Tiger camp's the biggest one though.
Oh, that was the best. You knew when school was out, it's like, all right, school's done.
Yeah.
We got a week, and then Tiger. And I'd usually play the boys and then work the girls' week, because come on. So yeah, no, it was fun, good times. I actually ended up coaching in Fort Fairfield a little bit after the fact, and that was due in large part to some connections I made.
There you go. So it's all about, you were making connections at an early age. That's the important thing. Yeah. So definitely played basketball growing up. Anything else were you into? Soccer,
baseball not so much. But yeah, mostly basketball. I mean, we don't have football, but we used to get some good football games going, throw football around with Dad a lot. He still likes to say that if he was 3 inches taller and grew up in Texas, he'd be in the NFL right now. But maybe not right now. He's over 50. Yeah, on that TB12. So, pretty much whatever ball we can get our hands on, man.
And how were when you were coming up? Your dad was coaching in Van Buren initially, right?
He was. Well, we started in Holton. I
didn't know that. Someone was telling me that he started off in Holton. I had no idea.
When he graduated from Maine, when he got done doing his thing there, I was born that summer.
Yeah.
And him and my mother were married the summer before. Yeah, his first teaching and coaching job was at Holton. His first year out of college, he was teaching and coaching the boys varsity at Holton. So he was, 22, coaching these 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
We lived in Presque Isle for a little bit, but he got tired of that drive, so they bought a place in Holton, and we did that for 4 years. I barely remember it. I never started even school there or anything. Then we moved to Van Buren. He was there for like 7 or 8 years.
He had some good teams in Van Buren. Right?
Yeah. He had when he first got there, they were all right. Van Buren's actually been blessed with some nice transfer students.
Yeah.
He had one guy, I'll never forget, Peter Delinsky. Some big, I don't want to get this wrong because I know with political tensions, I don't say whether he was from the wrong country that no longer is, or I've been divided, I don't remember where, but some Eastern Bloc country, big old boy.
Yeah.
And they were nice, and then the ones that I remember a little better were a little after that. We had your Nate Marquis and your Mikey Searwise, your Chanel Wrights, Travis Valancourt, who was actually a neighbor of mine. He was one of the earlier ones, actually, when we first moved back. But, we had some nice teams. I think the furthest they ever went was, they might have lost in an Eastern Maine final, I think, against Junesport Beals, because of course, against Junesport Beals.
Yeah.
That was always, that's where it starts. I used to get off the bus trips would work is they'd come pick up the kids at elementary school, then they go pick up the kids at the high school. But I was getting off. I'm like, I'm going to dad's practice. I'm going to go, because to me, when you're, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you got these 18-years-olds. They may as well be NBA players.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought these guys were gods. And so I get to go watch these guys run around and be a part of that.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it. And hopping on the buses, going to trips to.
Yeah, so you were traveling with the team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Anywhere and everywhere and anywhere. He'd have when he ended up in Madawaska, he'd have a Saturday trip to Calais. And I was like, Tom, why the heck do you want to go to Calais on a Saturday? I'm like, because they're playing. Like I gotta go. That's just what I do. I follow Dad and his guys everywhere. So a lot of hours on that bus, even if it wasn't to play.
So high school, 2003 freshman year, right?
Yep.
At Van Buren.
Yep.
Soccer and basketball right away?
Yeah, well, soccer for only a couple games. I actually broke my ankle. Actually, right here in Fort Kent.
Oh shit.
Me and another kid were going for the same ball. I forget his name. JJ something.
JJ Panette?
Probably.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah. Me and him went for the same ball, and he just beat me to it. And we just cracked ankles, and I broke that kind of ball bone feeling inside your ankle. Cracked that. So that put me out for the rest of soccer. That was really, really early on, like 2-3 games in or something. I was worried I was going to miss, basketball. That I almost didn't play soccer the next year because I was worried about that. My dad had done the same thing. He didn't hurt himself, but he didn't play soccer for a couple of years, worrying about staying healthy for ball. But I did end up playing. I did make it back for the beginning of basketball. No fun. Just brace it up. Good to go. Not a lot of burn freshman year, to be honest. We had a pretty veteran group ahead of me.
Yeah, who were some of the guys?
Jeremy Chassis
Yeah.
was the big dog.
Yeah.
He was a senior that year. You had him. Matt Gagnon was our undersized big. 5'11" if he was, but you couldn't get a rebound.
You have a full beard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a man. He's shaving in middle school.
Yeah.
And then under them you had Tyler LaPierre, Andy Martin, who ended up coming to play here, soccer here at the UMK. And just below them was your Mike Corbin was a senior in that year too. So this is a little bad. Back in the archives. Just ahead of me, the year ahead of me was Trevor Hughes.
Yeah.
Jake Doucette.
That was a good little stretch, like soccer too. You guys were solid. Basketball, you guys were solid.
Yeah, soccer. That freshman year, we were okay. I mean, by Van Buren standards, they were, winning state championships almost every other year. It seemed like I think we got knocked out in like the quarters or something. But the following year, my sophomore year, we did win a state championship
For soccer?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we beat Waynfleet, which is a private school in Portland.
Yeah.
So anyone that wants to say, oh yeah, it was Class D, well listen, these ain't Class D players. Yeah. It's just enrollment based. These guys are nice. The school's picking who they want. And I mean, we had to pick our jaws up off the floor after watching them warm up before we could play the game. These guys are pinging the ball around, and we almost felt like, we don't belong in the field with these dudes. They're we're just, kind of outwork you.
Where was that game played?
That was on the Hamden turf.
Oh yeah, it's a good field.
We played on the turf at Hamden.
Yep.
It was so funny, to see the dichotomy between the two crowds. On the Waynfleet side, you see all the doctors and the lawyers and the nice posh golf class, dressed in their nice. And then on our side, you got the Van Bureners and their flannels and their orange bonnets and their boots, and they're gonna tear down the bleachers, just stomping and losing their minds. And it was like, man, these people are from different worlds. But they scored one in the first half. I think we held the line, we packed that 18, and just said we're just gonna defend and hope we can sneak a counter out. And we did that twice in the span of about 5 minutes in the second half, and again just packed it back in and held down the fort. And our goalie, Andrew Taylor, who was kind of thrust into action that year because our starting goalie, Dustin Sear, had broken his foot jumping off a harvester.
Oh.
Have a more valley injury.
Yeah, that's as valley as it gets right there.
Our starting goalie's out and broke his foot jumping off a harvester. Yeah. So sophomore, Andrew Taylor thrust into action there and had a heck of a second half and a playoff run. And I think he probably still has the record for most career shutouts in Van Buren. Andy Martin, our go-to, had two almost identical goals. Just the classic defend, one long ball breakout up to the wing, and then just a long diagonal just behind the defense, just in front of the keeper, and he just barely gets a toe on it to poke it by.
Yeah. Andy was tough.
And that guy, you're not going to outwork him.
Yeah.
You might be just faster or have more skill, but you're not going to outwork him. But that was enough.
What's up, Kitty? So gold ball sophomore year.
Yep.
And then then we were in the basketball season.
Yeah, then basketball we were all right. I was starting to,
Oh, you would have came. You guys came to the preseason tip-off, right?
We probably would have come to the Twin Rivers.
Yeah, the Twin Rivers Invitational.
Yeah, would have come to that. That would have. Yeah, I was my sophomore year. I was kind of in and out of the starting lineup. We still had quite a bit of veteran presence there. We're okay. I don't remember exactly what our record was, but I think we had to go. We went on. Yeah, we had to go to a prelim game in, of all places, Greenville.
Ooh, what's a drive?
Yeah, that's a hike. So
yeah.
After that, what felt like a 6-hour bus ride, we couldn't pull it out there. They had one kid, I forget his name. He was a nice little lefty, or number one. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a high school player with number one. I think you're supposed to. Yeah, so that ended that season, and I think that was kind of when I was like, all right, you know what? I think it's time to go play for Pops.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a second. Before we do that, I want to talk about Van Buren real quick because you got to tell me honestly, what are your thoughts on the Van Buren gym?
I think it's one of the nicer in terms of the floor.
Yeah.
The floors, they've redone it in the last.
There's something about the lighting in there. Like it's like a weird tint. In
it was.
Yeah.
They've changed that since, but yeah, I used to have that old orange.
Yeah, it's like an orange glow, like an orange haze,
Yeah,
the way the floor, like the color of the floor and everything too is just like.
And the gold is already gold, so it looks even just like a bad yellow. But it's they have changed the lights. We did modernize a little bit. We got them white lights now, so they didn't repaint after that though, because when they changed the lights, they're kind of like, man, this looks awful. We've been looking at it through these lights, and now that we got something real, it fixed up a little bit. They've got the new modernized all plastic automatic bleachers there. They don't have the old wood pullouts anymore, so it's stepped up a little bit.
And then the fans. I feel like the Van Buren fans are just the most rude fans.
Yeah, you come into our house, man. Like, you better come ready.
Yeah.
I
can just remember things being said from the crowd in Van Buren that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. Like just some really rowdy.
We're gonna, like you said, we're gonna wait till we get to the Van Buren stuff, but try going there after having left them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
sure. Yeah, I can imagine.
Soccer, they're just absolute animals. Someone just clears the heck out of a ball, kicks it as hard as they can, and you'd swear they just scored a goal that counts for two. Just losing it. And I'm like, I like to play a little more the right way. I'm like, why are we cheering that? You just kicked out of bounds, 40 yards. That's a good play. They love it, man. It's a small town, and they kind of have that feel of like we're a small town that is viewed as such.
Yeah.
But we hold our own. We still manage to produce some athletes, every kind of
Yeah,
generation.
you guys have been solid. I guess like the soccer program's been solid for a long time. The basketball program too, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So
So when another town rolls in that we kind of see as, they might think they're a little above us because they got a bigger population or more there, or whatever. It's like, well, you got to deal with us right now. So I don't care where you're coming from. Now you're here.
Yeah. Good old Van Buren.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you mentioned the transfer.
Yeah.
So between your sophomore and junior year, it was a big deal because this was like people didn't really transfer like back then.
No.
People didn't really. They pretty much finished where they started.
Yeah.
But you transferred right down the road, Van Buren to Madawaska, to go play for Dad.
Yeah.
And what was the decision? Was it just more so you wanted to play for your dad, or?
That was a lot of it. Madawaska had a little more to offer academically at the time too.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I had to tell the superintendent to get the superintendent's agreement to go through.
Yeah.
I had to pretend I was interested in taking Spanish, and I never took no Spanish. No hablo.
Madawaska had that great video program where they would tape all the games and stuff.
I did take that, so I wasn't.
What is it, WOW or something?
WOWL, the owl. Yeah, channel. It was called Channel 7 at the time. I think now it's on Channel 16. But yeah, that was a fun class. You got to, film the games. That was just a small part of it. It was like a legit class that you took, and you're making all these different productions and like making commercial advertisements for businesses in town and different like short film type things. And yeah, Mr. Colin Jandro, shout out, runs a great program there. Really top notch. The technology he's got going in there is crazy. And yeah, that was, a lot of kids took advantage of that and liked it. A lot of kids would take it 2 years, get an advanced kind of version of it. And yeah, so there was that. And
Madawaska's got better looking girls too, right?
I'm not gonna say that. I may or may not have been dating a Madawaska girl at the time of the transfer, but that's irrelevant. Obviously you're a 15, 16-year-old boy. You're thinking about a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
To be honest, it shouldn't be. I wouldn't. It shouldn't be, but sports was a big part of it. Like I said, you grow up. My dad being who he was, and always seeing him as the coach of the school that you're at, and part of me always wanted to be able to play for him, and knowing that he probably demand more of me than anyone else on the team. He's definitely he definitely wasn't showing no favoritism. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to do that, and yeah, just made the move. Said all right. He had kind of he was not controlling at all. When he made the move, he wasn't saying like you can come. He just said, hey, if you want. He wasn't trying to get me. It wasn't no Pete and Press marriage deal where he's bringing him to LSU and getting him cars and stuff, obviously. But yeah, no, he wanted me to, and having been in both schools, he knew that Madawaska was a good school academically, and so he probably was more worried about that than I was at the time, being the adult, weird. So when I finally decided after kind of a tough sophomore year, you know what, let's go try this out.
So who was the coach at Van Buren? Who were you playing for?
Steve LaPierre. Still coaching both the boys soccer and basketball. Yeah. That's tough to play for the same coach 2 seasons in a row. Yeah. You see that.
Kind of get tired of him by the end of one of the season, and then.
Yeah, you see that same face and hear that same voice. From basically August to February. It's a long time. Yeah. And Steve's a great coach. He's had nothing but tons of success with, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 state championships, all kinds. But he's much more of a authoritarian, motivational coach, and that can kind of wear
old school.
On you. Yeah, very much old school and effective.
Yeah.
And it made me a better player because you still take lessons from that, but it just that style wears on you. Yeah. Like I said, you hear it for like 6, 7 straight months. When you're finally done, it's like, all right, I'm ready to not be going right back into that. Right. And so, not that Dad was a pusher or anything, he was tough too, but I knew it would be a little more instructional, like tactically and stuff than what Steve was doing. Running great programs, but it was just time.
So, you play soccer in Madtown?
I did for my current boss, Superintendent Ben Sirwa, was the coach at the time.
Yep. Good team too. You came into a good team.
Yeah, we were nice. My strike
different style play.
Oh man, the first few times when I went there and I'm playing these long balls, just flagging everything. Everyone's looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, what? It's the flag, that's just how we played, get it wide, get to the flag, get crosses, get in the box. That was kind of how we did it in Van Buren and Madawaska. They wanted to play stuff on the ground, and that's how I always wanted to. I liked watching, while coached and good played soccer internationally and whatnot, and it didn't look like anything what we were doing. So, hey, that's fine with me, great. If that's how we do it here, I'm good, So, remember he started me out on a wing, on a midfield. We played a 4-4-2. And so he put me out on that wing in the midfield. And I've always played up front. I played a wing sometimes too, but it was a 4-3-3, so you weren't asked to come back as much. So we played our first game, and he had me out on that wing, and I wasn't backtracking because I wasn't, not that I wasn't refusing to. It's just not what my responsibilities were, having played in a similar position before. So after the first game, coach pulls me and says, "Dom, you're not really a midfielder, are you?" I'm like, I haven't been. I wasn't trying to tell you where to play me. Like I wasn't going to be like, "Nah, coach, I don't play there." Like, no, I'm just trying to be, cog in the machine. But if you're asking me what I've done in the past, no, no, that ain't me. He's like, all right, no, that's fine. And so, bless his heart, instead of just throwing me on the bench and saying, "Well, you can't play this," he found a way. He said, "All right, well, I'll put you up front and I'll move this guy, Paul Roy, the guy who will do anything.
Yeah.
I'll put him out wide. I know he'll run all day." So he put me up front, and then that's when the strike force was born between me and my boy Tyler Levesque. A couple tall, gangly, 6'3", goofy-looking strikers, but effective, and
Yeah. So who were some of the other guys on those teams?
Matt Bossy, that would have been his senior class.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forget names, and you're gonna hit me for it. My class was Tyler Levesque, Adam Willett. Just underneath the teams that went on to get to state championships were just on the cusp of getting there. They were just 8th grade freshmen, not really quite ready yet. But your Sean Parkers, your not Ian Lee, John Lee, the older. He might have not even been. I don't remember exactly. I was only there for 2 years, so I'll see people I went to school but not remember their names. My 10-year reunion was last summer and I didn't go, so I'm not gonna go and just be embarrassed by forgetting all these people's names. I didn't go to my own prom. I was I don't know all y'all people. this doesn't mean anything to me, I had a date with a girl, and then my buddy's girlfriend, they broke up, and so I'm like, "Yo, take mine." I'm good. Go ahead. So it's an interesting dynamic. I only haven't been around for 2 years.
Was there some hazing? Did they give you a hard time coming in?
Not so much the athletes. I knew what I was coming into. So I played it really cool and trying to not ruffle any feathers. I was like, "Listen, I'm just here to be a part of this. I'm not coming here thinking I'm gonna take anything over. I'm not coming here to kind of put my stamp. I see what y'all do and I like it and I just want to be a part of it. Right. I'm not trying, so soccer that I think the guy who I knocked out of the starting lineup maybe wasn't so happy with it. But hey, whatever. Better for the team. And then basketball even more so, because they were right there. They had
so you came into a good team.
Yep. They had just won their first game in Bangor. Geez, I don't know if it was program history or just in a long time, but it had been a while. Yeah. That would have been Miles Morneau. Yep. Miles Morneau was a senior that year, and then just under him was that big group. You had Mark Campbell, Alan Campbell. Alan Campbell, Mark Sirwa, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Mark Sirwa and Kenny Sirwa, the twins. Yeah. Josh Pelletier, Matt Boyer, transferred from before.
Oh, yeah, it's true, man. I forgot about it.
We were just a Valley All-Star team. We're pulling guys from everywhere. Yeah.
I forgot Matt. That's true.
Yeah, so they had a good little thing going there.
Yeah, that was the toughest loss I had. So, the year you're talking about, the year they went to Bangor, that was, the first time, the only time when I was in high school that both teams were actually good at the same time. It's the game in Madtown my senior year, both sides were fucking packed. Oh yeah. Crowd was crazy. And that was a tough loss. We lost. They beat us in Madtown, and I'm pissed. I'm still mad about it. Still mad about it.
Yeah, no, they were nice. I mean, and they didn't look like a high school team. They had some big ball. I mean, y'all did too.
Yeah, but they were all 6'3", 6'4".
That starting lineup that year, Josh Pelletier was 6'6", 6'7". Sierra boys were 6'4" each. Miles probably 6'2". Yeah. And Allen was 6'3", 6'4". So that's high school teams around here don't look like that. Y'all were similar though, Big Mitch and y'all and Seth and all those guys. You were big too, but and so it worked out well because, it would have enough to have had him too, but Miles was like the only senior leaving.
Yeah, everyone came back.
And everyone except for the Cerebral boy, Kenny, for his passing.
Right.
That was, I'll never forget that morning, man. Dad got that phone call from Ed Marshall. And
What year was that?
That would have been just before the end of the 2004-05 school year.
Yes.
They were juniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just had, like I said, that big winner. That was the first time that those guys had kind of gotten a taste of some postseason success, and they were super motivated, ready. You know, they wanted to really put in the work that summer and come back, you know, even stronger than the year before. And you know, they were running. They were out getting their run, and there was like a last little stretch of a block, and they said, "All right, let's sprint it this last bit." And so, you know, they take off, and my boy Mark gets there, and Kenny never made it over with him. He dropped right in the road there, and that was it. And yeah, like I said, I'll never forget Dad getting that call the next morning from the AD Ed Marshall telling him, and it was tough. That was real tough.
Yeah. Well, what did it wind up being? He had something wrong with his heart, right?
Yeah, I forget if it was like a hole in his heart or enlarged or something.
Maybe like an enlarged heart or something like that.
Heart condition that made it. Yeah, I don't think that you had ever had any clue about. But so that was tough. Tough to come into that, you know, the next year. Again, not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm like, I'm not trying to even pretend I'm coming in to replace this guy. You know, like, I know no one will ever do that. I replaced Miles easily. That was no problem. But no, I'm just playing. But so Miles was the senior that graduated from that team, and so I came in and just kind of slid into that spot. Took his number 2.
Yeah, what number did you wear?
21.
21.
21. That was always kind of, you know, again, growing up and following Dad, that was always kind of the number that like, the dude wore, you know. Drew Clavette wore it.
Was 21?
Drew Clavette wore 21, then Mark Garcia wore it, and then Miles wore it after him, and then me after that, and then my boy Matt Duchesne after me. So I kind of had a little bit of a lineage there.
Yeah.
The Madawaska 21. So. Yeah.
Speaking of Matt Duchesne, so assistant coach was Fats Duchesne, right?
Donnie, yeah.
So coaching staff, your dad head coach, you had Donnie as the assistant coach.
Yeah.
What was that like? What kind of coach was he? What was his style?
Dad or Don? Don was that was kind of laissez-faire.
Yeah.
You know,
I heard he was really good back in the day though.
No, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Don, he was very helpful. You know, he was astute to what was going on, and just. You know, hey, you know, they're kind of paying a lot of attention to this. Maybe we should take a look at that. And Don was helpful. I remember though before him it was the other Dom Michaud. Michaud's dad.
Yeah.
I remember he was there, and he was done by the time I got there. I think he kind of got done when Guy finished up. But those two very different assistant coaches in there. I remember one game. Again, this is young, following them around. They're playing Holton. Holton had a kid, again, a transfer, Willie Sleeper.
Willie Sleeper was nasty.
Willie Sleeper and Frank Stefano was that team.
That was a stacked team.
Yeah, they were nice. Dad actually got ejected from a game against those guys because Frank had 2 fouls, and for some reason, Coach Adams for Holton still had him in the game in the first quarter. So he goes for a rebound, 2 hands right in the dude's back, and I think it was Ben Marshall. Then he threw Ben Marshall into the band, you know, in Holton, and puts it back in, and no foul call. Yeah. So Dad's, you know, losing it. He's like, this kid just has 2, and that would have been his 3rd. He would have been done until like the half, and he's like the one kid we don't have an answer for. He's a monster. Yeah. And he gets teed up right there. So then he kind of made that decision, like, all right, I'm not long for this game. You know, I'm out. So he goes, I'm not gonna say what he said to the official, but he ended up in the locker room, and that was his first game back coaching against Holton because Buren didn't play Holton.
Oh, that's true.
So back to where he kind of started, and of course I made the trip. You know, I'm sitting on the bench behind the bench, and Daddy just got tossed. Like, what do I do? Like, so I get up, I walk right across the court, I follow him right to the locker room, and we ended up listening to the rest of the game on Guy Michel's Walkman that had radio on it. So we're in the locker room, you know, 20 feet from the court, listening to it on the radio. Yeah. Can't be in the gym no more.
It's a good story right there.
Oh yeah, good times. But yeah, Dom Michaud playing that Holton team. I think this was, it had to have been at home because Dad was actually coaching this game. Didn't get tossed in the first quarter. Yeah. Willie was going off. You know, it didn't matter what we do. We had bringing hands in his face, and he's hitting him from wherever. And finally, Don, Matt, I got an idea. I said, oh, what's that? He says, Willie there, he can't guard him. You know what you got to do? What's that? You got to stun him. So Dad says, you got to stun him? Yeah, it's one little shot. He goes up for a shot, just a little whack. Just got to stun him. Dad's like, Don, I'm not telling my kids to do that.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Like, no, I know what you're saying. Might it work? Maybe. I'm not doing that. You know, that's not me. So, yeah, no, he's talking about coming from the old school. You know,
definitely.
Someone's a little too hot.
So what you guys want to doing your junior year, first year in Madtown?
We had a good. I think we went 14-4 or 13-5. We split with Fort Kent. I got in some foul trouble playing here, so I didn't. We only played about half of that, and we dropped that one. But then we took care of business at home. We split with Van Buren. We lost to Calais.
Calais would have been good though, right?
Yeah, that was the
Toma,
Knowles, and they had the older Shorey.
Yeah.
I don't think they lost a game for like 2 years.
Yeah. No, they were good.
Lost to them. I think we probably lost one to Mars Hill and had Andrew York at the time.
Yeah, he was good too. Yeah.
He was nice. Yeah. And I think we split with Holton Christian, who was actually nice. Holton Christian was okay. That was before everyone had kind of took off. They had Drew Fair, who was really good, and he ended up going back to Holton. They had Silas Kelly, who was like 6'6", 6'7", shoot, and Wayne kind of.
Didn't he go somewhere else? Silas?
He ended up going to Mars Hill after that. He was from there. And then they had Emery Lincoln, I think was a 1,000-point scorer at Holton Christian. Another kid, Corhonen, ended up playing at Umpy, actually. Terry Cummings was the coach at the time. So they had a nice little team. We lost in overtime.
Is this school still even open?
I think they might even still have a basketball team.
Huh.
Yeah, I think soccer, they might just play with Hodgson or something.
Yeah.
But I think that school's still going.
Huh.
Yeah, but they were pretty nice. We didn't play great, but it was at home. We lost in overtime at home, but yeah, no, we were nice. Van Buren was the big rivalry, stoked up a little more with two Rossinols.
Oh yeah, what was it like going back to Van Buren for the first time?
That was tough. That was real tough. I tried real hard to keep it cool with like my friends that I had left. I was still seeing a lot of them in like I was still in my church's Catholic youth ministry, so a lot of those guys that I knew and friends I still had, I was still keeping good contact with. So those ones were a little more understanding and cool with me. Not everyone was.
Yeah.
But that was fine. I knew what I was signing up for. So, and we had already played in soccer too, and that one got a little physical. Basketball's different, you're in the gym, fishbowl.
Yeah.
We lost over there in Van Buren, and we probably shot less than 10% from three, and we were a big 3-point shooting team between Matt Bowyer and Alan Campbell and myself a little bit, not too much, but so we didn't have a good game there, but then we came back home, and I think we ran out that gym meeting about like 30.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good game, 28 and 18, no big deal. Yeah, so those were always interesting, and they were good. They were really good too. I think the following year was the year they might have only had like 1 or 2 regular season losses, but those couple years they were really nice. Ben Doucette scored upwards of like 1,500 points, I think, in his career over there, and kids migrate. Riley Elizad, and just above me again, Trevor Hughes, Jay Doucette, and Alex Martin, Andy's younger brother, was very good too. He was the year behind, so they were nice. We just had 2. Tyler Conley was a big.
I remember that name.
He was a big boy. He was like 6'6", and he careered against us every time. It seemed, not that he wasn't capable in any given day, but it always seemed like he had big games against us. So there's a little extra in those.
Who you guys play in Bangor?
We played Washington Academy, our quarterfinal game. We didn't have to play prelim. I think we ended up 4. That was a 4-5 matchup.
Yeah. And they were good that year too, right? They had a little stretch.
They were nice. They had Eric Layton was their guard. They had Jeffrey Ramsdell was a kid. Actually, I'm going to up you with both those guys. Had another big boy too, whose name I'm forgetting. But they were nice, and like I said, that was the 4-5 game. I think we were actually the 5. We were the 4. I forget. Anyways, but man, we put it to them.
Yeah.
We played this. We were big, but not super quick, so we played a lot of zone. But they say good zone looks like a man, good man looks like a zone. So we had such length that it was like Syracuse out there, man. We're just covering everything. We're not giving you the look. At halftime, we were up 29-5.
Ooh.
We held them to 5 points in the first half, and then Yeah, I think we were home because I remember looking across at their crowd. It looked like they were at a funeral.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, they were just like waiting for that clock to run out so they can get out of there and go home. And it's so funny, you know, the challenges of being a coach. Dad's in the locker room, and this after the fact, he's like, I'm in the locker room thinking, you know, what do I tell these kids who are up 24 at halftime? You know, like, play better defense. You've allowed 5 points. You know, he's like, all right, I got it. All right, guys, listen up. This can go one of two ways. We can come out and think that this is over, and we can walk through this and let them back in it, or we can finish this right now. That's up to you. The first 2 minutes of this half are going to be big to determine the rest of the game. So we come out and we have the ball first and work it around, bang, hit a 3, 32-5. They come down, we get a stop, come back down, work around, bang, hit a 3, 35-5. Timeout. So Dad's like, all right, I got it. Message sent. So that took care of that. So then we had to run into that Calais buzz up. We played Calais in the semis. That should have been, seedings-wise, should have been the Eastern Main Final. Ended up beating us by I want to say 12 or 15, or it might have ballooned up after subs came in. I don't remember. But they were nice. They were really nice. They were big too, just as big as we were, which we weren't used to. We were used to being the big dogs. Like you said, Toma, they kind of made a little super team themselves. You know, they kind of took a lot of guys from Woodland. It's like, I think Toma was from Woodland. Knowles was from Woodland. Had a kid, Taylor. He was good. They were real nice.
They won the states that year, right?
Yeah, I think they might have won it those 2 years, that year and the year following. They didn't lose a lot from that team to the next. And no, they were very good. We gave them the only game that I think even the states they might have won by 25. So we were the only ones that gave them anything even close to a game. But they were a good team, coached by boy Eddie Lehman. He's a good guy. He ended up coaching me in the McDonald's game the following year. And it was a good run with a good squad, but just ran into it.
And then you guys pretty much lost everyone the next year.
And then I lost every other starter. We had 4 seniors, and I was the only one coming back and we didn't go very deep. You know, Justin Morin was in my class, and he probably didn't get much more than 10 minutes a game as a junior. So I was the only one coming back that was really playing regularly the year before. So we had a bunch of guys that were either just playing JV, or a lot of kids didn't even bother playing because they knew that it was so set, and they didn't really want to, invest in putting their time in for the following year. So we had a lot of soccer players that just didn't even play the year before. And so that was an adjustment. I didn't do well with it. It was hard to go. My junior year, like I said, I was coming in. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm just trying to be a part of this. I was very much if you can believe this, I was very much a pass first point guard. And I probably only averaged 10 or 12 a game, but probably 7, 8 assists. And I was just trying to stroke those egos, get Mark and Alan and Matt the ball, and just be a part of it. And all of a sudden they're gone, and I'm like, all right, well, I was giving up last year, and let it fly now. So I probably didn't ingratiate myself with the new teammates as much as I did the old ones with some of the stuff I was chucking up. But we didn't have much expectations, and I think we probably went 9-9 or 8-10 and didn't even get a playoff. And
made the McDonald's team though.
Made the McDonald's team with brother Sam.
So you guys had Tomo was on there.
Tomo was on there. That boy Drew Fair, who ended up from Colton Christian, who ended up going to Holtland, was there. I think that's probably for county kids. We had a Chimay from Deer Isle. We had Chris Byron from Skank, I believe.
He came to you. Wow, he went to Hudson.
Yeah. No, we were nice. Coach Tom Bird. From Lee Academy.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he was on that team.
Yeah.
No, we had a good squad. We scrimmaged. When you go down, the way it works is you go the day before, and you'll have a practice in I think it was in the pit. And so you have a practice with your team, and it's split gym. So the AB East is practicing there, and then the CD East is also practicing. When you're done, you'll scrimmage against them. This AB team was nice. That was my boy Troy Barney's Mr. Basketball that year. He was on that team.
Was Koskinen on that? Sean Koskinen? Might have been the year before.
He might have been the year before. No, he wasn't there. They had who was the other big boy that went to Maine after he was from Gardner?
Oh yeah.
Just a mountain of a man. man.
Yeah.
Probably like 6'9", 270.
Yeah.
Just monsters. Corey DeWitt played at Ellsworth. He actually broke in my dad's Class B tournament game scoring record. He had like 53 or something. He broke his record. I mean, did he need a 3-point line in 2 overtimes? Maybe. That's besides the point. Yeah. So they were nice, and so we're doing that scrimmage, and I'm guarding Corey on the wing, and he goes to set a down screen, and my teammate yells switch. I'm like, all right, cool. So I put my forearm on this guy. I'm like, yo, this guy ain't moving. And I look, it's that freaking monster. He's gonna play Maine the next year. I'm like, yo, I don't belong down here, man. Like, and that was fun. And so we played the CD West. I forget if Sam was on my line or that one. It was a team of 10, so we just did 2 lines of 5. And my string was the second string. It was like Toma and Chimay and those guys. And the first string, would get us into a bit of a hole, and then we'd come in and kind of dig out of it. And so the first quarter, we're up 5. First string comes in. They cut it to 1. We come in upset. Just kind of push it back and forth. We ended up taking care of them. It was fun.
It was a fun weekend. I remember going to the banquet and dunk contest and all that stuff too.
Yeah. Troy Byron's throwing it off the shot clock and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And you go to the Ronald McDonald House, which is basically the weekend is a fundraiser for. Yeah. Right across from the hospital there for people that need a place to stay when they're getting treatment and whatnot. So they kind of tour you around there. Coaches Ed Lehman and Tim Brewer, coach at Marseille, 2 excellent coaches that have done basically nothing but win. Right. This little boy Chandler who ended up being a good player too. He was just a little guy doing what I was doing. He was following Dad around and everything. I had Dad had coached that one year when he was in Van Buren. And again, I went to that, followed him all around, saw all that. So it was kind of cool seeing his boy being able to do the same thing. Exactly. He ended up being a good player too. So. Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to our first segment of the pod here. Still looking for sponsorship. Ethan asked, big time questions. Folks, this is season 3. Ethan still needs a sponsor. Somebody please step up. Ethan, go ahead, buddy.
So what's your side of the Sam Bard rivalry? Is it even a rivalry, or is Sam just sour about it for no reason? In your opinion, who had whose number?
Me and Sam, man, we're cool, but we're super cool now. We see each other, it's fine. But when you're in high school, man, you're wearing them different jerseys, and you go from one school that's a rivalry with this dude to another school that's still a rivalry with this dude. And you're both the big dog on the block. It's not that you can't like each other. Like when I'm going to battle, I'm not one to initiate talk. Like I didn't do a lot of that when I was playing. Yeah. But if I was, I'm not pointing fingers. If I was instigated in any way, I won't start it. But I'll finish it. Yeah. I'll come out your throat once it starts. No, we were competitive. We were, like I said, we were both the big dog on the block of our own respective blocks, and so you kind of eye each other up and go at each other a little bit. Might have been a girl or two mixed up in the middle of that.
I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, I won't name names. Yeah. Won't make anyone famous here, but we went at it. Had a a healthy rivalry, respectful. It wasn't lovey-dovey on the court. There was some, but it was respectful, and we were on that Sam McDonald's All-Star team, and it was all really cool. And once you take those opposing jerseys off, it changes, man.
You guys must have been pretty evenly. It must have been like 50-50, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, we split both years at Madawaska. I don't remember how we did with them in Van Buren. I think y'all probably beat us in Van Buren. Yeah. In Madawaska, both years we split. No, that's not true. I think they beat us twice my senior year. Yeah, they beat us twice my senior year. Like I said,
Sam might have the edge.
Yeah, he did there. They had they had a lot left over from the year before as compared to what we did. We lost to them my junior year up here. I got in foul trouble early, and I was our only really ball handler. Yeah. And so once I was out, they started racking up the pressure, and
it's also the game, Sam's game of his life right there.
Probably.
Yeah, when he went off.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I think we ran him pretty good at home. We took him up behind the woodshed there a little bit. So I take a little solace in knowing that when everyone's at full strength, we put a number on it.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fun.
So you mentioned Umpy. You threw Umpy in there. So how long were you at Umpy for? You didn't play all 4 years, right?
I didn't play. I had started to play. I didn't end up sticking with it. The coach at the time was I'm not gonna name names, but the program was kind of in disarray.
Yeah.
I think that was his last year there. There was issues. There was stuff going on.
I don't know why, but it seems like Umpy can never get it together. Like they've never had like a string of success or like just consistency.
Yeah, they've got. I think they've got a good guy there now, though. Actually, again, back to McDonald's. He was on my McDonald's All-Star team. Danny Kane. He's
coaching Umpy.
He's coaching there now.
Yeah.
He was on that McDonald's team with me. Danny, funny story. Again, going back to USM position camp, right? So they had us kind of broken up into divisions, and we're lining up on our teams, and I'm looking at this kid, Danny, redhead, goggles, got every sweatband you can have, and who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's a interesting looking guy, and love the guy. So they ended up bumping me up a division. They didn't. I played in a group up, and so end of the week we kind of come all back together for the end of week awards, whatever, and. So I forget what they were called, but let's just say that it was the college and I went up to the NBA, whatever. Say an MVP for the college division, Danny Kane. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! Like this guy with the goggles.
That's
and
the thing. You look at him and you wouldn't think of it. Even in high school, you look at him like, who is this guy?
Yeah, but no, he was nice.
Yeah.
You could stroke. I think he was a little more of a distributor too. He played at Central High School, Central of East Corinth. Didn't put up the gaudy scoring numbers, but was a point guard that ran the show. That someone that would go on to become a good coach. Weird, Those are the kind of guys that end up doing that. But he was nice. The coach at Umpy at the time, it was kind of a mess. There was all types of stuff going on. I think there was something happened where the guys got a hold of the keys to like the school van and like took off for a weekend with it, and like the credit card, like the gas credit card, and just it was a
all
mess.
kinds of shady shit.
Yeah, it was a mess. So I didn't stick around for that too much. I had started the season and went tryouts and I made the team and stuff, and they had actually had me a ticket to go on some preseason show. I forget where, like South Carolina or something. And I was kind of like, before I took off on that, I'm not trying to commit to this. And like you said, going back to making those connections, Todd Alley was the varsity boys coach at Fort Fairfield, and he knew I was, going to be getting done with high school and going to Umpy and was going to be around. He's like, I need a middle school coach. If you want to get into coaching, let me know. And so at the time, I was planning on playing. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to be playing. I'll be busy. But I kind of had that in the back of my mind the whole time. So when I didn't end up playing, I hit him up and I applied for that, and I coached the 7th grade team. So I did that for a couple of years when I was at Umpy, and I did Presque Isle for a year, one of the Presque Isle teams. But that year I went over and took that one. Was the last year they had the blue and the white, the 7th and the 8th, and so I was only there for a year, so I was out. But no, it was fun. That was kind of the beginning of getting into coaching, and I enjoyed it. I had some really good teams before Fairfield. Actually, I coached the kids I coached in middle school went on to have a good high school team.
I was going to say, because Fort Fairfield had a low run too.
Yeah, they were nice. I had Andrew Lewis was my big. He ended up being a very nice player. I had a bunch of guys. And the varsity, Todd was big in that the program is a program. You're my middle school coach, you're part of it. And so I was going to all the varsity games and sitting on the bench. And I forget if it was the first or second year, but that was the year they had the undefeated season.
Yeah.
Austin Dufour and a bunch of those guys. And we actually ended up losing to Bangor Christian in the first round, a 1-8 matchup, I think, in Bangor. But Bangor Christian's one of those teams, man, you can never look at their seedings because they're always playing a very Class C heavy schedule down there. So they might be 8-8, but half of those wins are against teams that would be good Class C teams. They're going to be underseeded, and so they ended up making it really good. I think they had a Bradford at the time. Weird. It was like 12 straight years it seemed like of having Bradford there. I wonder if it was the one that...
There was Brock, and then he had a little brother.
I think it might have been him.
Yeah.
I remember which, but there was definitely one. And so they took care of us there, but no, I had a blast. Todd isn't in the area anymore, downstate or New Hampshire.
You spent some time coaching with your dad at some point, right?
Yep. So then after that was when my sister would have been coming into high school.
Yeah.
Paris was as soon as she was a freshman, Dad got done Madawaska, coaching the Madawaska boys. Actually, no, my senior year was his last year coaching, so he took a little bit of time off and didn't coach for a little bit, I think. Yeah. But then he coached her in middle school. That's what he did.
Oh.
He coached her in middle school. Yeah, because after I was done, Yeah, so he coached her in middle school, and then when she went to high school, he followed her there and took that too. And so I started assisting him there too. Me and John Parent, Dad's lifelong, coach slash friend slash second father. Basically, he was Dad's assistant when he was a player. He was his assistant when he coached in Van Buren. And so when he came back to do it again, he was let's go right where we left off. He was my kindergarten and pre-K teacher.
Yeah.
So shout out to JP. He's quite the guy.
So you were one of his assistants for all 4 years when your sister was there?
Yep. I doing what I could. I was still at Umpy for a lot of it, so I wasn't able to be like super to everything, every practice or everything, but I didn't miss many games, if any. That was it's different, man. You almost live and die with it more when you're watching someone you care about play than when you play yourself. At least I have some control when I'm playing. When I'm watching her playing, being on the bench, sides of me came out. I didn't know were in there. I was fired up, and Dad was always trying to police me. It's like it's supposed to be the other way around. The assistant coach is supposed to be calming down the head coach, but I was, the young 21-year-old guy just losing it on his sister not getting the foul call she needs.
Yeah. All right, time to get to the last round. Ethan asked big time questions.
So I know you were a Van Buren to Madawaska transfer. So, what's the better of the two towns? I know Van Buren's home. So Van Buren or Madawaska?
As opposed to better of the two towns, I'd say right now, when I go home, I almost don't recognize it. It's not the same. Not that we were a metropolis when I was there. It was still a Class D school as well. But just as far as like the visuals and like the people you see around, it's not what it was when I left. Madawaska's struggling a little bit too, though. They've had a little bit of a rebound here, but as far as towns, it's different. Madawaska probably does a little more affluent community, but there's very much of that small town familiarity in Van Buren. This is just a small example of something you'll never see happen anywhere else. Me and my brother, we go down to local IGA. I think it was local IGA at the time. Yeah. And I'm not sure fine. Anyways, we go and they have these. They're selling these Bismarcks that this woman in Grand Isle makes, and they're phenomenal. It's actually a relative of ours. These unreal Bismarcks. And so me and my brother go. We go to look. And we say, hey, you got any of Madame's Bismarcks? And the guy working, Mike Smith, shout out Mike Smith. He says, no, they haven't come in yet. Her son usually brings them in by now, and he hasn't. And so we say, all right, that's fine, no problem. Thanks anyways. And we leave, and we go back home to my parents. And so me and my brother are both getting ready to take off. He's heading back downstate to Portland. I'm ready to come back here to Fort Kent. And we're in the driveway getting ready to leave, and I hear the phone ring, and Mom says, Dom, it's phone. It's Mike. He says the Bismarcks just came in. Like, yo, what other town is the local grocery store going to call you because you went in early looking for something? Like, yo, we got him now. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said for that. That small town kind of familiarity, everyone looking out for everyone, very neighborly. So that was nice, but schools, I transferred, right? I think that speaks for itself. Yeah, that kind of
lays it out right there.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah. And then you've completed like the tour of the valley basically. So now you're on the Fort Kent staff with Derek Cooper. So.
I am. Last year was my first year as his JV coach. Mr. Workin, sub-varsity coach.
Yeah, that's what they call it?
They call it sub-varsity, which I don't know why that's any better. To me, sub is more derogatory than junior, but anyways, we'll go with what they want. I'm a sub-varsity coach and assistant varsity coach as well, and had a very good season last winter. We lost in the semifinals to a team that ended up going on to win it. Yeah. GSA, they've been a power the last couple of years. We gave them just about as good a game as anyone did. We beat Mars Hill for the third time that year in Bangor in our quarterfinal game.
And you guys should be good again this year.
And we should be really nice again this year. Our only senior we lost that played a lot regularly was Jake Daigle, which is a big loss. Big boy, worked hard, great leader. It's a big loss, but fortunately it's just the one player, and we bring everything back. We won't be as big, obviously, but maybe just a little quicker and maybe play a little more of that pressure that Coach Coop likes to play so much.
No doubt. So we're gonna get to the part of the episode here where we get serious for a second.
Right.
Still no sponsorship for it. So businesses, look, we love money. We love free stuff at Big Time. Segment's called "When You Die, What Jersey Do You Want to Be Buried In?" So you got a couple different choices. You got the Van Buren colors. You got the Madtown colors.
Yeah.
Got the Umpy colors.
Yeah.
Probably not Umpy though.
I never even put on a jersey. Practice jerseys count?
Yeah.
No. It would probably have to be Madawaska. You know, that's the only one that I really chose.
Yeah.
You know, I chose to go there. You know, no disrespect or lack of love to VB. You know, the town made me who I am. You know, however good a guy that is. But that's where it all started. But you know, I had my most, I guess, individual success, you could say. Not that it amounted to any team success at the end, but I was at my best in Madawaska playing for the old man.
Yep.
So yeah, I probably have to go Madtown.
It's a clean jersey too. Like
Yeah.
you know, I'm a 4-count warrior, but that Madawaska blue's not bad. It's not a bad looking jersey. All right, we're gonna get to our last segment, sponsored actually. Charlito Wonders, brought to you by Rock's Family Diner. Shout out to the good folks at Rock's for sponsoring this segment. Charlito, what is your question today?
Yo, Dom, what up, man? It's Charlito out here in Halifax. We all know you come from a pretty athletically outstanding family, the Rossignol crew, man, second to none. What are family gatherings like? Christmas time, 4th of July, you guys all lace them up, play some backyard basketball, some tackle football. Who's the greatest outside the lines athlete in the family? Push comes to shove, who's taking the family title home with them? All right, my dude, thanks for dropping in the podcast. Keep it easy.
Great question, Charles.
No, that's good. It's not too competitive anymore. You know, the uncles are all a little older, except for Mark. Don't tell him that. He'll still lace one with anyone. But Dad lost a lot of that competitiveness. You know, after you know, being who he is, he kind of had a target. You know, so like, you know, it's classic. He was his first year at Holton. The coach that he took over for was still around. And so, you know, Dad gets roped in by Marty Bouchard, shout out Marty, to playing in the men's league. So he drives to the basket, and this old coach cleans him out. He goes ass over tea kettle on the ground, like, what just happened? This guy stands over him and says, "Welcome to the men's league."
Oh, jeez.
Dad's like, yo, I just played in, I don't know what the conference was called at the time. I just played Michigan State last year.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't nuts, you know? So that was kind of like, all right, you know, I'm past what my meaningful days, and some people aren't past that, so I'm gonna just stay out of it because people are gonna be gunning for me. So he doesn't do too much. He hasn't for a while. I'd have to give him the crown. How can you not? You know, 2257. That's the career total. I think I tattooed that number on me somewhere where I was born. So yeah, but Paris too. You know, she's already done something he didn't do in college. She won the conference championship, which he didn't do at Maine. Granted, the conference was a little different at the time, you know, playing Canisius, Niagara, BU, and those schools. But they did do that this past winter, so she's got that on him. Family gatherings are a trip, though. You know, you got a lot of old dudes that did it back in the day, and a little bit of ego, a little, you know. So like the thing that, you know, Dad will like to do, we'll take family pictures, and then he'll say, "All right, now only 1,000-point scores." So he'll kick us out of it, and then finally he'll say, "All right, only 2,000-point scores." And it's just him and Paris. It's like, okay, we get it. It's just y'all. Like, you're the only ones that did it. We know. We don't take the same picture every damn holiday. But then I'll kind of throw it back and be like, all right, only state championships.
There you go.
So me and Derek.
Yeah.
I got an aunt too that I love. My Uncle Luke's wife Lisa. She won a soccer state championship at Van Buren. Yeah. So we'll get those. So yeah, it's all just some good-natured ribbing, but probably a little sinister intention deep down in there a little bit, just to make sure you know. Yeah, no, they're fun. Where it's a crazy bunch.
That's gonna do it for this week's episode. Dom Rossignol. Actually, real quick, where's Dom come from? I'm thinking it's a basketball reference. Who were you named after?
It is spelled like Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, it's not where it comes from though. It's not. Is that what it's about?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's French too. You know, it's IQUE, and my family, especially my mom's side, is very French.
Yeah.
So you know, my brother Derek's actually the only one that doesn't have a French name. You know, Paris and André, my very French names. But I think Dad might have been a little more agreeable to it. No, at least we got Neek, you know, in the highlight reel.
There we go.
So yeah.
That's going to do it. So thank you for Dom for coming through. Make sure you check out all the previous episodes on iTunes,